Oh, this was crazy. Here's how everything played out. When I went up to Washington, D.C., I was hired to be a newsman. That's what they called us. And then they said, well, just call yourself the news director, and that'll give you some clout. But back then, in the late 70s and before that time, news people did not make comparable salaries to what morning show hosts were making. So this was right at the beginning of a two-person morning show. I figured that if you look or sound like your competition, what are you doing to be better than your competition? You've got to stand out above your competition. In order for me to command a higher salary and to command some clout as part of the morning show, I had to do things in my news that no other newscaster had ever done, ever in news. The only outlandish guy at the time was Paul Harvey, and he did one newscast a day. I didn't want to pattern myself out of Paul Harvey. I wanted to pattern myself next door type of guy, like, holy crap, did you hear what just happened in Congress today? Or, oh God, you're not even going to believe this. Things like that to jerk people out, because back then, news was required by the Federal Communications Commission. You had to do 2 an hour. Oh yeah. And you had to do 1 at noon. It was crazy. So in order to keep the license and keep the FCC off radio stations' butts, they would hire the cheapest voice they could get to do news. I started interacting with Elliott. I started doing news. The way I did my news was to see if he reacted to something I said in the middle of the news. I knew I had the listener. And that's pretty much the road we went down for the entire 10 years of our reign in Washington. I would make things up and put them in the newscast. There are many. Here's one I made up. A large company has come to town, and they're building an amusement park called Armadillo Country. Everything is patterned around armadillos. Armadillo rides, armadillo treats, armadillo barbecue. Everything was armadillo. I wish I had some of the tapes, but they're gone. I can't find them anywhere. After the news story, we started doing Armadillo Country Amusement Park commercials. Dan Mason, our program director, said, guys, your Armadillo Country Amusement Park bit is fantastic, and I can't even believe the thousands of people that think it's a real amusement park here in the area. And here's the hook on it. We never gave out a location. Our tagline on those fake spots was always, take the Beltway, follow the signs, turn left at the first arrow, go another 5 miles to the entrance. Dave Fox, one of the best voices in North America, probably in the world, did a real fast tagline like you hear on automobile commercials or things where you have to do a disclaimer. As long as you put it in there, it can be real fast. Blah, 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 blah. Well, it was great because listeners were always calling up and asking where the amusement park was. They wanted us to elaborate on the directions, which made for great phone bids. And believe it or not, some people would actually call in and play along like they had been there. Hey, we had a great time at Armadillo Park. Can't believe we found the place. The directions were really difficult, but we made it. Everyone started playing along with us on the air. So the other listeners started to believe it. We had to stop, back off on it, because there was a big weekend grand reopening at Armadillo Country, and we created a traffic jam on the Beltway that was unheard of for a Saturday morning. That's about it for Armadillo Country. Sure wish I had the tape.